Hi, my dear students. We write letters for various purposes to various people, sometimes to our parents when we are away, to our relatives, to our friends, for official purposes. But these days, we very seldom write letters because we mostly communicate through internet, by email, and also through social media platforms. But it was not so earlier. In the previous century, maybe 20 years before, we totally relied on writing letters. To send money, we used to use money order through post office. Now we have got net banking, transactions through debit cards and credit cards, and so many other ways. In your English course, the first lesson is titled A Letter to God. The title looks strange, isn't it? Because we normally don't think about writing a letter to God. We do pray because we believe in God. But how many of us really think to write a letter to God? If you find someone, you will say he is foolish. So, this first lesson that we are going to learn, we are going to learn about a person who dares to write a letter to God. Before coming to the story, let us come to know about the author. The author's name is G. L. Fuentes, Gregorio Lopez Fuentes. He was a Mexican writer. He was a novelist, short story writer, a poet, and also a journalist. He was one of the most prominent chroniclers of the Mexican Revolution. Chronicler means one who writes in detail about the historical events. So, this is a brief sketch of the author of A Letter to God. Now, let us learn in detail about the story. The story is about a farmer named Lancho. He lived in a mountainside. His house was on the top of a small hill. From there, he could see the valley where he cultivated corns. आपको मालूम है corn क्या होता है? Makha. The corn was getting ready. The flowers had come. So he dreamed of a good harvest. Lancho was not a rich farmer. He was a poor farmer. He was not much educated too. He had only basic literacy. He could write a bit, but not that very scholarly or fluently he was. So he was hoping for a good rain, because with a good rain he knew his harvest could be very good. And as he wished, one evening it started raining. He was very happy. He considered the raindrops as coins. So that was the happiness he experienced when the rain came. But this happiness did not last long. The good rain turned out to be a destructive one. After some time, hailstones started falling. You all are familiar with hailstones. You may not have seen a very destructive hailstorm, but it happens in North India too. Big balls of ice fall from sky, which is very dangerous. And whatever it strikes, it destroys because of the weight and the speed of the object. We have seen many vehicles are damaged, houses are broken, animals and human beings are killed in hailstorms. Most often, the destruction is to the agricultural crops. When hailstorm happens, agricultural crops like wheat, potato, etc., that are grown in the winter time is destroyed. So, in Lencho's case, the hailstorm destroyed his entire crops, the crop of corn, sweet corn. He went into the field and found nothing was left. He was shattered. The whole members of the family were upset. But Lencho was a man of faith. He had faith in God. He consoled his family members, told them, "Don't worry, nobody will go hungry. Nobody will die out of hunger." He found a way. He decided to contact God. Therefore, he went to the post office and wrote a letter addressing God. And he posted the letter. One of the postmen found this letter and he could not control his laughter. He rushed to the postmaster and shared with him about the letter that was written by Lencho. Initially, postmaster also considered it as a matter of humor, but being a good man, he started thinking seriously about the letter. He found something good in the faith of Lencho. He wished if he also had the same faith in God, the simple faith of a farmer. The postmaster wished if he had that much faith of this farmer. He felt sympathy towards the farmer because he knew he is in desperate need. Lencho had asked for 100 pesos from God so that he can cultivate again and he can look after his needs till the harvest is ready. But 100 pesos was a big amount. The postmaster knew just feeling sympathetic is not sufficient. He needed to help Lencho. So he decided to help him. He also asked his colleagues in the post office, other employees there, to contribute towards a fund that could be given to Lencho. So they collected a little more than half of what Lencho had asked and sent it to Lencho. The money reached Lencho. Lencho was happy but not very surprised because he knew God would do it. When we don't expect and something happens, then we are surprised. But for Lencho, it was not a big surprise. It was a matter of happiness. But when he counted the amount, his happiness turned sour. He thought in his mind, how can it be? How can God do such a mistake? Because he had asked for 100 pesos and he got only 70 pesos. So he went again to the post office with a lot of anger. He wrote a letter again to God. In that letter he said, I need 100 pesos. I asked you 100, but you did not send. Please send the full amount. He also mentioned in the letter that God should not send the amount through post office because he believed and wrote in his letter that the people in the post office are a bunch of crooks, crooked people. And here the story of Lencho ends. The story of Lencho and his letter to God. I hope you liked it.